Gene Comes Clean, My Life of Excess with Gene Pietragallo, Hollywood actor and producer who shares his life lessons about getting rid of addictions and unnecessary and useless baggage. He asks, who says you can't? His message is, do something you've never done before. Revitalize your spirit. This is Andy in the studio, and you're watching BloomerBoomer.com, the platform that will launch you toward the happiest life you desire after 55. So join us at BloomerBoomer.com and be part of this amazing community. And now, here is Gene.
Hey, Bloomer Boomers, how are you today? Bloomer Boomers! Thanks, Andy. I appreciate it. As always, I appreciate being here. And I am, surprisingly to myself, 61 years old. So I'm a boomer. Snuck up on me. Why am I here? My name's Gene Pietragallo. Gene Pietragallo. My show's called Gene Comes Clean, My Life of Excess. My life of excess is because that's what my life turned into. And then that excess led to being put in a stranglehold by a disease of the mind and the body. And it took me off the track, and that disease hit me in lots of ways. For me, alcohol, for me, food, for me, anything was an excess. So somehow I survived, and I'm still trying to turn my life around, and I'll continue working on that every day. But somehow, unlike a lot of other people, I just feel like I'm coming out of my shell and have a new life when I'm a boomer, when I'm 61, because I spent a lot of time pickled, a lot of time, I don't know. I think it might just stunt your growth. So I feel a lot better and a lot younger than maybe I should. But I also spent a lot of time led by addiction and disease. So that's who I am. And I'm not here to preach to you about addiction and the disease. In my case, as I said, alcoholism. They're all out there, whether you overeat, whether you're depressed, whether we're addicted to all kinds of things. You could be addicted to reality shows. And I'm pretty convinced if you let yourself become addicted to reality shows, your IQ could drop. I didn't mean to criticize them, but I think it could. Anyway, I ended up a blowout, 50-year-old blowout, and I still couldn't come to grips with I needed to have change in my life until I turned 55. And so here I sit at 61, sober, 100 pounds lighter than I was 10 years ago. And a lot of people return my calls now, and I remember that I called them. So the reason why addiction, depression, and everything is just so prevalent now is nothing that is news to any of us by now. We've all been holed up for months now because of the pandemic. It's changed our lives. We spend a lot of time. If you're not lucky to have family around in a situation that provides that, you might be alone have been alone for a long time now. And then there's the threat of, is it going to come back? And that's what they're telling us now. And we're going to have to, shut down again. If President-elect Biden's team, it seems that's what they're intimating, that's what we'd have to do. So, when you're alone, your mind festers, and like I said, you can eat too much, you can drink too much, but there's a way out of this, and the way out of it is change. And sometimes change is really uncomfortable, but changing something and just really making an effort to make yourself a little bit uncomfortable. I don't care if you haven't gone out and gotten the mail in a few weeks. Go outside. It's really not that scary. But getting sober gave me hope, and hope hope let me start dreaming again, and uh, dreaming gave me life, and I realized I didn't want to give that away. I never did. I was in the clutches of it. So what mostly I think I could relate it to is because my addiction is a depressant, is depression, and that's such a lonely thing and a hard thing to shake. So you got to reach out to somebody, but more than that, you can do stuff for yourself. Let life fill your spirit, man. Let it look out there and think about what you haven't done and how long haven't you done it, and why in God's name. There's this guy about to be 78 years old that's going to be the new president of our country. They're banking on the fact that he's going to have no problem making it to 82 years old as the president of the United States. I would say he probably has a pretty rigorous schedule. So any boomers, especially since boomers start at 55, and I know a lot of people feel this way, we all of a sudden got hit in the face with being older. We've gained a lot of weight. We don't go out of our way to do things we used to do. We eat too much. We sit on the couch too much. And God knows we could stream anything we want and never leave the house. So how do we break that chain? Start off slow. Do something different. Open the drapes, open the windows, go outside and take a damn walk. Call somebody. How often do you wait for the phone to ring? Pick up the phone and call somebody you haven't talked to in a long time. I just know that there's all kind of things to bring us down, and whether it's the world situation or how you're living at home or anything else like that, but we can't wallow in it. We can't really actually convince ourselves that our input of watching CNN all day or checking on the internet about the state of the world is going to really change it. In the end, it's not. That's what we're dealing with right now. We need to pay attention. We need to be good citizens. We need to wear masks and do all the things we need to do. And that's how we can help change it individually. But monitoring it totally and basing every decision we make in our lives about the state of the state. Recently, yesterday, talking to people about business, and every single thing we talked about was about things that haven't happened. Well, this is what's going to happen, in the end of January, and this is in February, and this is in here. In this case, it was about politics, which is not my bag. I'm very apolitical in that I just don't like the whole. I just don't like the whole thing, but it was all based on politics, and I had to really ask if we could make a decision about something that was happening next week. That's all that I was really interested in, So it's overtaken us all. It overtook that. It took over that business call from me yesterday. I don't know. I don't know how, but I know that if you're not religious, you can still dream. If you're religious, you can pray. Life doesn't need to be over right now. These are some of the best years of your life. We've had a lot more life experience than these kids. We do a lot of different things and have a lot of talents that aren't available today. You're not washed up. Why I'm here and why I like getting your emails and your calls and all that is because for me, if I can answer any questions or point somebody in the right direction, it's because it makes me feel good, because I first of all need to reinforce the changes that I've made and not get sloppy and not get lazy, but also it makes me feel good to give back, anybody. And if people are listening, I hope you are. It seems like you are. Um, that's really important for me. It's important for me to pay it back. So thanks for letting me do this. I have a lot of help here out here where I live. I have, in particular, my son nearby. I have a lot of nice friends. I have an amazing girlfriend. Her name's Linda, and she's awesome. So anyway, helping others does help ourselves. When I uh, was in the midst of my depression, which was, was fueled by alcohol, I couldn't get over anything. I was just razor sharp on what I was depressed about, and it was just so down. And at that point, it was divorce and my kids, and then I lost my dad suddenly, just out of nowhere, too young, and it gave me reason to feel like for a while that I had, all the world against me. So all the more reason this depression just stayed on. You can't wallow in anything, and you can't wallow in grief. In our family this week, we had a really serious loss. We have between the lovely Linda Lane and I, we have 3 dogs: newcomer Boomer, Venus, who is amazing, but we got this. Linda does. This amazing 15-year-old dog named Bentley. 15 years old, 105 in dog years. Bentley is a pit bull. I always say I don't know if I'd be able to have handled Bentley when he was even, 5 or 10, but he took to me really well, and I felt like Siegfried and Roy. He was a big boy, and he loved to play, and he loved to wrestle, and he was my own wild animal. And the thing is, though, that day after day, just like what can happen to you if you wallow, I'm much more Linda than I. But for me, since I've been around, Bentley can be heard a mile away, and he was like a kid, even though he was 105. And oh, well, maybe you figured out by now why I'm just lamenting about Bentley, because in one day, just one day, Linda felt I should take him to the vet because he didn't seem right. And when the doctor called back, because I had left him there, and because of COVID, you can't go in. And anyway, when he called back and he kept telling me it wasn't good news, and I didn't want to listen. And then he said, you should consider euthanizing your dog. And I said, got to call Linda. One day, later that day, he tells her, because she was working, I hope you make it while he's still here. That morning we were hanging out with Bentley, so we went back and we saw Bentley. And they said, you click that light when you're ready, and we'll come in to begin the process of putting your animal to sleep. Well, anyway, he came in and he's wagging his tail, and he looked great, and he just loves us and all that jazz. And we never touched that switch to ask them to come in. They had to come in. They came in a couple times. One time they came in, they said, did you guys, hit the switch? And we're like, no, we didn't want to leave. We wanted to bring him home. And, but we knew that the doctor, as Linda said, was a passionate man, and most animal doctors are, and that he wouldn't mislead us when he said that the pain Bentley was in was just ridiculous, and he didn't have long to go. But selfishly, we wanted to take him home. So, we said goodbye to Bentley, and we didn't want to leave. We laid there on the floor with him all night, and the house is quiet, and It's time for grieving, and it's also time to celebrate Bentley. And I just learned a whole lot from this dog, and from how much um, your animal can mean to you. And so the whole point of the grieving issue is that the next day, little Boomer, you guys know Boomer from our show here, and I went over to the house, and Linda said, where is Boomer? And I said, well, I don't want to bring Boomer over. I didn't want to upset you, and maybe it would depress you. And she said, no, bring that little goof over here would probably cheer me up. So nobody's replacing Bentley, but it was interesting that God sent us little Boomer, and he's as goofy as Bentley. And it takes the sting away just a little bit, So it rocked us. It still rocks. I still thought I was, think I see him around. So I miss you, Bentley. Love you, man. And so we move on, and now we have great memories, right? We can't wallow in it. I just know that getting older does not mean that life is over. Life isn't over because you retired from your job, and life isn't over because you turned 60. But I didn't really, nothing ever really bothered me except when I turned 60. It didn't mean anything to be 59 or 58 or anything. 65, I thought it was a big deal. And when I woke up and I was 60, I kind of checked myself and realized that it was okay. So when I turned 61, it made 61 feels like a much younger number than 60. So think about it. So if you're, I think 62 and 63 will be much easier. That big 60 is a big deal. So, it reminds me of our poem, and our poem about being a boomer, being a senior, and realizing that we should live life to the fullest is by Dylan Thomas. And it says, do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rage at the end of the day. Rage against the dying of the light. So Dylan Thomas is saying rage against the dying of the light. And Dylan Thomas is saying live life till the last day. I think that there's always a lot of people that say, God, I wouldn't retire. If I retired, I would just fall over. And that doesn't mean you can't have a full and busy and productive and giving and involved retirement. You don't just have to never not retire, but you have to live life to the fullest, and there's so much to contribute. And so we tend to look at a lot of people that are retired, and there's a lot of time on their hands. That's where depression sneaks in. That's where overeating sneaks in. That's where drinking too much sneaks in. When it comes to pills that people are taking nowadays, I mean, the dependency on opioids is huge. So when I think sometimes, why am I here on a network that talks to boomers 55 plus, that it's because it's really the majority. We're the majority of the audience of growing every day. As we say, the numbers are staggering, but this is where it is. This is where the addiction and the depression and the disease, there's a lot of stuff. And a lot of us have been carrying it around forever. So I do tell you by experience, because, everything I've done to change my life, man, I should have done that when I was 30. I should have done that. I should have done it when I was 40. I should have done it. I always thought there was going to be plenty of time. So now I'm surely not going to sit around and sit on my thumbs while the dying of the light's going on. I'd love to be able to be vibrant and have a full life until the day I pass. But how do you do that? Help other people. Take care of yourself. I mean, just a small walk. Yesterday, I actually ran a couple miles, and it was ugly. It's probably it's not something you should watch before you're gonna eat or something. But I run really terribly, like Elaine and Seinfeld. It's how I look when I run because I have a total knee replacement. And they told me and showed me, the well, maybe not others, the rest of you, but I saw these people playing tennis and skiing and snowboarding and uh, what do you call it, water skiing, and all of them were doing all of this at almost a professional level after they had their full knee replacement. It didn't work for me, and I was really banking on it. So you know what? It felt really good. And I don't really care what anybody thinks or how I look. You know why? Because I've been around for a while and I know that nobody really gives a crap, you know? So I took my Elaine running self out there and took a little run. But in my mind, man, I thought I was, Joe Frazier. I thought I was, just taking a little boxing run. It's interesting. And I'm in my black and gold regalia because no matter what or how ugly maybe some of the victories have been, it's the Steelers are undefeated. They're undefeated. And so I've watched we're 8-0, and I have watched every one of those games, all 8 victories, 8-0. With my 85-year-old mother, who is about to become 86 years old on New Year's Eve. She's a New Year's Eve baby. So on the 31st of January, she'll be 86 years old. She knows every play. She knows everything about it. She remembers every stat and all the Steelers she met in the heyday and back at, at Three Rivers and the Allegheny Club and this and that. And I have all the memories of all, as our seats moved, and I never went to the Allegheny Club, no kids, and who wanted to? You wanted to be out in the cold and the elements, but so I've been able to talk about being a boomer. Well, my mom's a boomer, I guess, or she's definitely older, and the two of us have watched every game, and as I said, she's got a lot of aches and pains and things, but she's just smart as a whip, and she's aware of everything going on. She's smarter than me, but she understood when I was watching the game and the guys playing. I looked at her and I said, Mom, I think I could do that, and she immediately started laughing, and she said, I know you do, and so. Nobody says when you get old, it hasn't taken away your ability to dream, your ability to want to compete, your ability to be productive. So we should all check ourselves, man, because it's a beautiful world out there. And the perfect time to change is to reinvent yourself is while the world is kind of on pause. I'm trying to do that. That's why I was doing my, pretending I could do a little road work yesterday. And today I'll do some other silly things. But I've told myself that I want to come out of the pandemic a better person in a few ways. And one of those ways is I want to come out as a better person, physically. And I know that being physically fit and taking it to another level, it also helps my brain stay fit and it makes me feel better. But I'm as lazy as anybody else. So I've made it a thing, and my thing is to take advantage of this pandemic and, see where I could put myself in a place that I did something during this time except just worry, and watch the news. And that would be change. So let's keep changing. Push yourself to change. Call somebody. If you've been sitting in the house watching TV by yourself or streaming everything in the world, get somebody to come watch it with you. Um, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. And I can't help but tell you that if you just embrace life, embrace what you have in front of you, all the rest of your years can be great. You know, maybe I can be sitting here watching the Steelers go 8-0 with my kids when I'm 86. You know what? That's very possible. So, Andy, are you out there?
Hey, Gene. Yeah, I was. You were talking about aging, and there's one. Mark Twain has a really good phrase on it. Age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
I like Mark Twain a lot,
yeah.
but it is an issue of mind. I have to remember, but that I can't do some things, and then it's still very hard for me to accept that. But as I said, I'm looking right at my mom and referring to the television. I'm standing in front of the big screen because I want to be a part of it. As if in my mind, I was like, I can do that. And, it would be quite embarrassing for me to be out there running around like those guys. But did we get any, did we get any mail?
Yeah, let's see. There's a couple here. This is Robert. He said he was coming. He went into his church during the weekday to do something, and he noticed that they had a 12-step meeting going on there. He wonders, what is that all about?
What is that all about? Well, the
he just saw they had their sign there, and then the lady came up and took it away. I guess they were ending for the day.
I guess that would be, they have 12-step meetings. They're called Alcoholics Anonymous for folks seeking the 12 steps program to deal with their alcoholism. But the 12-step programs are there for overeating, for sex addiction, for smoking, for gambling.
So just about anything having to do with abuse.
Anything that you do to excess,
yeah,
is covered in the 12-step meetings.
Oh, okay.
And they handle each addiction really the same way. But I can only say that if you wanted to try it out, and I think it's a great spot if you feel like you need to be somewhere. It's not a secret cult. It's a nice place to be. And it's actually, I think what the 12-step programs do is it lets you understand that you're not alone. That's the biggest thing they do. They let you understand that you're not alone. And when we're depressed or we're stuck in our own addictions, we tend to think we're the only one affected that way. And when you get involved in these kind of things in the 12-step programs, you'll find out that there's a lot of people that feel the same way as you, and it makes you feel better. It makes you have a little more solace. Know you're not alone.
Cindy is asking if it's any easier coming clean when you get older.
Well, sure, because you got to. If you're getting clean when you're older, you probably had your your ass kicked, if you will, enough. I would think it's probably a little harder to come clean when you're younger. You bounce back quicker. Everybody around you is partying and on whatever, whatever suits your fancy, beer, hard liquor, mushrooms, pills, marijuana. So, by the time you're in my case, 55 years old, and if you've been going at that rate since you were 16, it's a little easier. It's a little easier because it's, I better get off this train or die. But that is not to say that I think it's any less staggering for someone to be going through addiction when they're younger.
There today?
Pardon me?
Is our buddy there today?
Oh, our buddy. Well, our buddy, Boomer. Come here, buddy. You know, Boomer is really, really, he's really spoiled.
Boomer is a big boy.
Yeah, see, you don't think Boomer's not just a little puppy.
No.
He's a big puppy. So
Yeah.
anyway, Boomer's here. I wish everybody out there in Boomerland a happy weekend. We're gonna stay here. We're gonna try and be positive. You know, not to don't surprise anybody, don't get in trouble. But getting a dog's a great way to cheer yourself up. And how could you not have fun hanging out with this guy?
He is so cute, and I feel the same
He's a
way
good
about
boy.
dogs. They just do wonders.
Yeah, don't they? All right, you guys.
Gene.
Wendy, once again, thank you. I'll see all you guys next week. And have a good weekend. Do something nice for yourself, okay?
You too, Gene. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Andy. Bye-bye.
And you've been watching Gene Comes Clean, My Life of Excess. Join him every week at bloomerboomer.com and be part of an amazing community of folks over 55.